Hey TFM, there's a longer version of this video for me questioning who the new arch identity at running the cathedral is, where you say it's Jews after October 7 there. I'm just going to quickly run through all of the slides in a couple of seconds, and the longer version will be there for you. This video will only be left with the conclusion or the summary, just in case you don't have time to watch the other one. In the longer version, this slide here is one of the history ones, so there's 3 of them. This just shows how slave morality sets the foundation for Jews becoming later relevant. Then there's this slide. This one just shows how after FDR's Third Republic, the Jews increased their infiltration and position relevance to America as an ally. I then conclude with the history, and this one here, where I try to explain how it's possible historically to have a different opinion other than the one that you have after October 7. This one just discusses AIPAC because they are a powerful organisation. I think they're even more powerful than you've mentioned on your show, and I discussed that in the longer version. This one offers the actual conclusion, so I'm going to actually play this one as it is. Alright, this is the conclusion slide. The only reason I made the video was because you said you were struggling to find any other explanation for the data you've seen. I believe I can compile all your data and throw it into my theory anyway and still come up with a different theory. That's why I made the video. Okay, so my conclusion for what we've seen with Jews in 1945 to now, the summary's there. So slave morality dormant in the US takes form through progressivism after a civil war. It starts expressing itself via women's rights, obviously liberating the blacks as well. You've seen the examples I've provided at protecting the weak, communist sympathies in America, also throughout Europe as well. It was just that time for when progressivism was expanding from its dormancy, trying to find formatting. Then you have 1920s, women get their rights. Wilson becomes the first progressive in an election, so he's one of their own. World War II then offers the Jews as genocide victims. They've always had their shit pushed in, but now they finally get to cast themselves as victims to the victors, to the most powerful one, America. And they become a new group in need of protection that validates progressivism's assumptions, slave morality's assumptions that the weak need to be protected. They really monopolize this position going forward. Again, they were homeless, they were beaten, and they become progressivism's original minority going forward for FDR's Third Republic. They cozy up to US daddy. The Jews become useful in charge in Germany at Nuremberg. In the Cold War, they offer additional functionality that I showed, and then after that, they become a much more dirtier ally. I know this because I'm Australia. If we were invaded and attacked, we would sell half of Australia to America in order to be protected. So we have the same level of desperation at our political level as Israel would as well. But Israel can't take an invasion, it's very small. So their position is desperate, it is immediate, and it is ceaseless. I expect them to be what they are. The level of infiltration of the neocons and the top of the Pentagon and some other areas, that's impressive. That would have took some time, clearly it has. That's the threat, AIPAC and the infiltration at the top. So they have power, but they have a seat, but they're not running the world. They're not running the policy for US against China or with Taiwan or against Russia or NATO relationships, and now how they're finally getting them, they're using the Ukraine war to get them to raise their budget to 2% of GDP for funding. Israel's running nothing. They're not relevant. You can't question them because of America's power, not because Jews are running the world. Now it may be fading, but I think Jews will offer a new attack against the public. So I've been researching a man called David Irving, who's a Holocaust denier intentionally for the MGTOW community for about 6 months. Obviously, I am not believing anything he says about the Holocaust denial, but I'm watching how he was treated by the Jews in America in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. When you get called an anti-Semite, even back then you got cancelled from your bookstores, your books didn't get published, you got cancelled from your job, threats, all sorts of stuff. Well, they're trying to monopolize with central bank digital currency and with the ending internet anonymity or whatever it is on the internet. They want to use not anti-Semitism but hate speech to protect blacks, women, Jews, etc. I think Jews will be useful in that function going forward. Or America will use Jews for that function going forward. But I don't think the Jews are running the world. I don't think they're running the world. I don't think they're running America. They have leverage, they have power, but it's really only to protect Israel.